All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about a new AI model that could seriously change how we interact with data. It's called TableGPT2, and the whole idea is pretty simple. It wants to let you have a real conversation with your spreadsheets.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the paradox we're all living in. We have oceans of data, right? But trying to get a straight answer, a real insight out of it, man, that's still the hard part.
And that really gets to the heart of the matter. We're talking about a fundamental problem, a bottleneck that pretty much every business and every team runs into day in and day out.
Does this little dance look familiar? I bet it does. You've got a burning question, so you fire off an email to your data analyst. Then you wait and wait. Finally, the report lands in your inbox, but of course, that report just gives you 5 more questions. And just like that, you're right back at square one, starting the whole slow motion process all over again. It's exhausting.
But here's the thing. This isn't because we lack powerful tools. We've got plenty of those. The real issue here is an access problem. There's this giant wall between the data itself and the people who need to ask questions. And that wall is built out of technical skills, SQL, Python, skills that most of us just don't have.
So, how do we tear down that wall? Well, this is exactly the problem TableGPT2 was built to solve. This isn't just another chatbot. It's a specialist, designed from the ground up for this very specific challenge.
So what is it really? Simply put, TableGPT is an AI that's been taught specifically to get how tables work. Spreadsheets, databases, the whole shebang. It lets you ask these really complex questions using just plain English, no code needed. And to give you a sense of just how specialized it is, look at this number. We're talking about nearly 600,000 carefully selected tables that it was trained on. So this thing wasn't just taught to read text that happens to be in a grid. Its entire education was about understanding data in its native habitat.
Okay, so how does it actually pull this off? What's the magic here that makes it different from all the other AIs that try to do data analysis?
This right here, this is the secret sauce. A general-purpose AI looks at a table and just sees a jumble of text. It's flat. But TableGPT2 sees the structure. It knows that rows are individual records and columns are different attributes. It understands that the relationships between them are what hold the real story. It's the difference between just reading the words on a page and actually understanding the plot.
So what's under the hood giving it this superpower? Well, it's really a combination of a few key things. It has a special part of its brain, a semantic encoder, that only thinks about tables. It's been trained on the messy, weird, real-world data we all have, not just perfect textbook examples. It can see your entire spreadsheet at once thanks to a massive context window, so it doesn't lose the plot. And it's all built on a top-of-the-line AI foundation. That's its edge.
All right, so enough theory. What does this actually feel like to use? This is where it gets really cool.
I mean, just imagine typing this exact sentence. This is a seriously complex question. Normally, this would take a data pro a good chunk of time to filter, join different tables, and run calculations. But here, it's just a question, like you're asking a person.
Or check this one out, a much more technical query. You don't have to remember the formula for standard deviation. You don't have to know how to group data by the hour. You just have to know what you're looking for. The model does the heavy lifting, translating your intent into a real analysis.
And the result of all this? It's simple. The code is gone. The technical hurdles are gone. The waiting is gone. Suddenly, the path from curiosity to insight is a straight line. You can finally explore your data at the speed of thought. But look, a great user experience doesn't mean a thing if the answers are wrong, right? So does it actually work? Well, it's been tested like crazy. And the results, they pretty much speak for themselves. They show just how much of a difference this specialized approach makes. On all the standard academic tests for understanding tables, TableGPT2 is over 35% better than other similar models. Now, that's not just a small improvement. That's a massive leap forward in accuracy and reliability.
But here's where it gets really mind-blowing. When you test it on the kind of practical, messy business questions that companies ask every single day, that performance gap widens to almost 50%. This thing isn't just a lab experiment. It's built for the real world.
So when you put all of this together, the benefits are just transformative. Yeah, you get answers in minutes, not days. And yeah, those answers are super accurate. But the real game changer, you empower everyone on your team, sales, marketing, operations, to use data. And that frees up your expert analysts to tackle the really hairy strategic problems. It's a win-win.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing, but how do you actually use it effectively? There are a few simple best practices to get the most out of it.
First off, the model works best when it has everything in one place. So try to create a single unified table for your analysis, like join your customer list with your sales records beforehand. Second, be specific. The clearer your question is, the better your answer will be. Try referencing column names if you can. And third, remember it actually writes the code behind the scenes. You can grab that code and use it to automate your weekly or monthly reports.
And this might be the most important part of all. TableGPT2 is completely open source. That means anyone can use it, can tweak it, can deploy it on their own private servers. This is huge. It gets rid of licensing fees, and more importantly, it solves the security problem because your sensitive data never has to leave your control.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. If that barrier between you and your data just vanished, what's the first thing you would ask? What's that one question you've always wanted to know the answer to? What incredible insight is just sitting there waiting for you to find it?